Hi, I'm Katie, and welcome back to my channel where we talk a lot about tea, usually. And at least we incorporate tea in anything else we talk about, typically. So, tea. Yeah, I'm babbling, sorry. Hopefully, the outside noise will not interfere with this video, but it is a lovely 71 degrees outside, and the windows are open, so this is what we're doing. So today we are having another tea chat, and the tea for today is white, is Moonlight White from Yunnan sourcing. It is a tea Dragon Ball, which is partially broken up because I already started steeping this. So this is new to me. I haven't tried the plain Moonlight White from them, so we'll give some tasting notes as we go as well. But for this tea chat, I wanted to discuss my writing, what I'm currently working on, and what my big master project is. But as we can see, words are coming really not well today. Wow. Of course, like a couple days ago, I had the worst time coming up with words. It was terrible. I couldn't think of anything all day. It was really bad. So, yeah, shut up and drink tea. Okay. So, what I did already, I did a long rinse session, and then this is a little bit longer first steep here, which I spilled a good part of. So this is why I don't always film the whole tea session. This is really nice. It's just got that just good white tea feel to it. It's got a little bit of minerality, but I think this is going to open up and become something really nice. I thought that this would be a good accompaniment to this beginning of spring weather. Depending on when this actually goes up on my page, we may be well into spring, we'll see. If you weren't aware, I do film these ahead of time, so I have some in block and I just kind of decide when to throw them up on the page. So sometimes they've been filmed a week or two ahead of time. Yeah, that's real nice. Okay, so let's start out here. And like I said again, sorry if any background noise. Hopefully that won't mute out whatever I'm saying. So, current project that I'm working on writing wise, I am working on this short story project. I will try to speak. We will see what happens. Yeah, wow. For those of you who do not know, I have been a very shy person all of my life. I have really hard time talking in public and finding my space to talk. So doing this, it's different. I can do this. I can feel confident in doing this because I'm just like, hey, I'm gonna be myself and I'm gonna be goofy and I'm just gonna be entertaining. So this is what I'm gonna do. And but sometimes, yeah, words are hard. Forming like sentences that make sense can sometimes be hard as well. But that's also, I found, a writer problem because some of my writer friends, they also have problems speaking out loud. Like they can write up whatever thought they feel like, but when it actually goes to speaking that, yeah. Okay, anyway, so my current project that I'm working on is a short story set. There is a magazine called First Line. I think that's the whole name. I think. Anyway, but what they do is quarterly they think up a first line of for a story, and they post these lines out, and they do all four at once, so that then people who wanting to contribute to the magazine must start their story with the same first line, and then they see what happens from there. So how this one line can develop into so many different stories. So currently I'm working on the summer project for that, which is due the 1st of May. And I am trying to make it a fantasy story because that's really what I like to write. And I just added a fantasy element to it, but I'm like, okay, let's see how this works. So I've got one story that I'm going with, and we're going to see where that takes me, and then I might try a completely different thing and see which one I like better. So we'll see how that goes. As for me and how I write, if I haven't discussed this, I don't think I have, I write by hand. I handwrite everything for my first draft. I write like basically in notebooks. I particularly like the composition notebook style notebooks. Just my random thing. I like colored ink. I like changing up the different colors. The different colors I don't color code anything. I just use different colors because it's fun. And sometimes, depending on my mood, I have to change up the color. Or the mood of the story, and sometimes colors help. I just like pretty things. I also write in cursive, and in my own brand of shorthand that just, yeah, no one's going to be able to read what I write. So then what I like about doing it by hand is that then when I go to type it in, I'm already kind of revising. So I go from handwritten to typed, and that's almost a revision process, so I can like fill things out or change up some problems right then and there. So that is kind of why I do it, and I like physically feeling the words and writing it out. There's something to it, and it works better. I have worked on doing things where I type first. My first NaNoWriMo National Novel Writing Month, the first one that I did in 2019, for that I started handwriting, but I knew if I was going to keep up handwriting, I wasn't going to make it in time, because I had to handwrite and then I wanted to type it in to make sure I had an accurate word count, because you need 50,000 words in a month. And so I decided I was just going to go ahead and type, which it worked. It's just not my favorite thing. I hate typing. I actually hate typing. I really do. I particularly hate typing when it's like, okay, I got to type this up, so I don't have a whole lot to type. I don't write everything and then type it. I kind of type as I go, and it's like, well, I'd rather be writing than typing. Anyway, that's me. There's a leaf in here. Okay, let's do another steep here. Hopefully I'm not being boring. I'm just kind of rambling on. Anyway, so I'm working on this story, and it does have a word range to kind of hit in between. So I'm kind of worried that my first attempt here may end up becoming too long of a story. That's the problem with fantasy, you typically need a decent amount of time to explain what this new thing is that you're in. So we'll see what happens with that. It's really, this guy won. I love it. I love it, but Sometimes if you don't have it set just right and pour it just right, it just makes a mess. Which is why we have lovely tea trays, so we catch all of our spills. Anyway. And I got another leaf in there. Keep my water hot. Okay. So that's what I'm currently working on. And so what you do is when the quarterly submission time comes up, you put your story in, and then they come to consideration, and then if they like it and pick it, it goes into the magazine for publication, which would be awesome. So I'm definitely doing the summer one, and I'm considering doing the fall and winter ones as well, though I don't immediately have any ideas for what to do for the second thing, because the way it's set up is just not a topic I would normally deal with, so I gotta figure out how to use this topic with how I write. Otherwise, I am always looking for contests and things like this to submit stories I've already written to, or wow, this is not working today. Or come up with new stories in time for the due date. So yeah, that's what I'm doing writing wise for the most part, because I would really like to keep going and getting more publications. Because if you didn't hear, I do have one story published, one short story published in an online magazine. You can go back and watch that video, that other tea chat, to learn more about that. It's got more flavor to it, but it's a little hot to tell exactly what it is. So yeah, working on stories. What my main goal is right now too is trying to get back into a daily writing habit, because I go in and out of that a lot. It's really bad. So I'm trying to at least write something, even if it's not what I'm currently working on, which is something I've always kind of avoided. It's like, okay, if I'm working on a bigger project, I want to just work on that project. I don't want to like get off track and write something else, which is how I have several novels started. I have several novels that are in progress, just so you know. So I have lots of stories that I can touch on and talk about what I've got plans to write. Yeah, wow. I should have like brought out talking points or something, because this is just... But yeah, if you're holding on, thanks. Anyway. I don't know where I went. Okay, yeah, so daily writing habits. So, working on that, not going so well. I did it for like the first 3 days of March, and yeah, it got a little shaky after that. I do find it a little more difficult to write on the weekends, just finding time to get some time to write, but I'm trying, it's like goal-wise, at least like a page and a half handwritten in a journal would be nice to have something written every day for a side project thing. So yeah, that's my goals. Now my larger project, my grand project that I am working on, it is a fantasy trilogy. It did not start as a trilogy. It started as a single book, and it was just gonna be a single book. It had sort of a cliffhanger-ish ending, but not really. It's like there was things untold, but you knew what at least was going to happen right next. So it was just going to be that one story. But then sometimes your characters, they have big personalities and they talk to you and they want more of their story. So I think I ended up writing a backstory for one of the characters, my leading man. So he got a backstory. And then I ended up writing some other various scenes. And then I actually literally just started writing, picking up right where the first book left off, like that second. And it just went, and I'm like, okay, all right, so we have a sequel. And so we're going, and I have it plotted out and everything. It's probably quarter to a third written. And I'm like, okay, let's plot out where we're actually going with this, which is not normally what I do. I just kind of write and start going and see where it takes me, which is why nothing's done. But that's how I get the most creative things. Anyway, so I have that all plotted out. And then I decided to do National Novel Writing Month. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to do a completely different story. I'm going to completely start over. And okay, it's like, what do I want to do? I want to do something with dragons. I want to do something awesome with dragons. So, okay, let's write a dragon story. Let's write a fantasy story with dragons in the real world, in like a town similar and close to where I am. And so I kind of know the terrain, know what's happening, and it's going to be really awesome. So I plot this whole thing out because I know I'm going to write like a novel in a month. And okay, so I want to be able to accomplish this. So I need a plan. I make that plan. I have that plan in mind. It's working. I have this fun artist girl for my protagonist, and she and her family guard this secret of the dragons, and there's a love interest and a costume party, and she's got this best friend who's crazy and spunky, and then I've got this villain who's not really a villain, it's like the evil girl of the school. But I have all of these things, and I am writing this, and I get bored. I'm like, seriously, my characters are boring me, or my characters are bored, whichever way you want to go about this. I feel that characters drive me to do a lot of things. So what do? My characters are taking a hike, and they're off in the woods, and what happens? I shove them through a portal into another world. Yeah, that's what happens. So, yeah, this is what I do. Yeah, so anyway, this has more flavor now. It's just a very well-rounded, full flavor white tea. I don't know that it tastes like anything specific. It's kind of got maybe a little bit of fruitiness, and it's still got some mineralness. We'll see how it keeps going. Anyway, this is my random tangent way of talking, so bear with me. So I shove them through a portal into another world, and I'm like, okay, survivalist book. Here we go. We're going to turn this into a survivalist story. It'll be fine. And then it's like, okay, well, we're stuck. We are stuck, and how are we getting them back from this world, and why were they there in the first place? So, some of my characters from the first two books show up. Yeah, they just are like, oh, hey, this is our island. Yeah. Whatever, big deal. This is what we're doing. Here we go. Okay, so, and then I'm like, well, then I know what world we're in. I know where we are. I know who these characters are and how they work. So, cool. This is good. So I bring in more characters. And I figure out, all right, well, this is how this works, and this is how this works, and we have this new world. This is how we're going to get back. This is why we're doing this. This is how this all connects. This is amazing. And my story fleshes out, and then it's like, wow. And then I'm like, okay, I've got to do something that I don't want to do. And I've got to kill off one of the characters that I absolutely love. And I kind of freeze up there, and I don't want to do this. I hit my 50,000 words for NaNoWriMo, and it's like, okay, so I've got that. Actually, I hit more than that. I don't remember how many I actually got. I think it was like 60 something. But I stop. I'm like, okay, let's take a second here. And then I wait and I let it sit. And I decide, okay, well, if this is really the book, maybe we should start working and redoing some of the first two books. Maybe we should finish writing some of the first two books. But I don't really touch anything. And then Camp NaNoWriMo, and for those of you who are not in the writing community, this happens in April and July, where there's like a mini version of National Novel Writing Month where you set your own goal and you achieve that through that month with writing a novel or writing whatever you want to be doing. So April rolls around and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to finish this book. I'm going to finish it because I feel like it's really close to being finished, so I'm just going to finish this book. And I do. So, and I did that in like a week and a half. So beginning of April, I'm like, okay, I'm good. I have this done. So I'm like, okay, because of all this, I have to redo some things in the first book. So here is where I am. Well, actually, I tried to finish writing the second book, so I wrote some scenes in the second book. But because the second book is not done. I have book 1 done and I have book 3 done, and I do not have book 2 done. But it is a trilogy series. But book 3 answers a lot of questions as to what must happen in book 2 to get people where they're going. So anyway, I am now at the point where I need to reread this whole series and fix some things, enhance some characters, because it's a fantasy series of another realm. So in book 1 and book 3, a teenage girl gets shoved into this other realm. It's 2 different girls. And it's the same realm. But so I created this whole other realm, and it's like this got this medieval feel to it. So it's got fancy dresses and horses and archery and sword fights and all that cool stuff. And castles, and there's a big war going on, which I developed a timeline for the backstory of that because I didn't have that either. This is really very nice. Very just really enjoyable tea. So yeah, these girls get, okay, first girl gets transported into this other realm. And I don't like sharing a lot of details of what I'm writing because I'm just, worried stealing stuff like that. Anyway, so she is in this new realm, and she is the one from the prophecy who is sent there to save them, that whole sort of thing. It is quest narrative. It is loosely based on the story of Judith. It's got some other medieval things thrown in there. Anyway, so she falls in love in this new realm, and there's this whole love story, tragically dramatic thing. She goes and saves everybody, and then she's got to figure out, is she going home? And then we have a love triangle thing and all this stuff, which I'm really not telling you very much helpful things about this. We'll talk about this again later. Anyway, so it's got this whole medieval vibe to it, and so she's in this castle world, and she's like, okay, why do I have to go home sort of thing. But then it's like, okay, wait, I do have to go home because, you know, I am a 17-year-old girl and my whole family's back there and everything like that. So there's a whole tension there, but then I guess I can't really say much else, but we're back in the realm. You know, she stays in the realm, okay, guys? But I don't tell you why. Uh, so yeah, this is what we're working on, but different people in this realm have different abilities, and some of those abilities got more fleshed out in book 3, so I have to go back to book 1 and work on that some more to give it kind of more well-rounded sort of, this makes better sense now. So yeah, I don't know how entertaining this was, how helpful this was. If you have any questions, do let me know. I will let you know as much as I am willing to say. Yeah, I do plan on finishing the entire trilogy, at least in second, third, fourth, I don't know. Various books are on various drafts, so I don't also keep track of my drafting. I would like to get them at least written to a point where I'm like, okay, these are just going into editing mode beyond this. They're like fine-tune edits after this. So I want to get to that point before I start thinking about publishing. Now I have actually sent queries in for book 1, but got turned down. And I'm kind of glad because now I want to change a bunch of things in book 1. So, and I don't know exactly how I want to do this. I would love to do it traditional published, but at the same time, I may actually, like, listening more and more to different writers and stuff, I may try to self-publish this. We'll see what happens, especially to keep the whole trilogy together and make sure it's all told. I may self-publish it. We'll see what happens as things go, but right now I just need to finish the story. So, there's a little about me and my writing and things like that. Like I said, if you have any specific questions, I will either consider them for another T-chat, or I can answer you in the comments as best as I am willing, as I said. So hopefully this wasn't too rambly. Hopefully this was entertaining enough. And if you stuck it out through this whole like half hour, thank you for watching and being here with me, learning some more about me. I really do appreciate it, and I also appreciate it if you like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. But yeah, I'd love to hear from you all. I would love to know what you're drinking, what more tea chat sort of things. Like for these tea chats, I want to talk about myself. So anything you want to know about me that I am willing to share, do ask. Other hobbies and whatnot. I have other hobbies. If you'd like to know about them, I am more than willing to share those as well. I just want to know what you're interested in hearing, so let me know. And again, thank you so much. And yeah, Moonlight White from Yunnan Sourcing. Yeah, yeah. This is, there's not like any certain flavors that stand out to me. It's just a really good white tea. So if you want a white tea that's actually got some flavor to it, yeah. I do think I like the Silver Needle Dragon Ball better still though, because I did try the Silver Needle Ball and it's just got more sweetness to it. But this, not that this isn't sweet, but this is like a darker feel to it, which, you know, Moonlight versus Silver Needle. Anyway, again, thank you all for watching and subscribing to me and following me around. And yeah, if you want to know more about my day-to-day life, make sure you follow me on Instagram as well. That is linked in my about section here. So I'm gonna cut this off before it gets too long, and I will see you next time. Bye.